We're here at the VMware Public Sector Innovation Summit, and joining me is Brian Merrick, Director of Cloud Programs at the Department of State. Brian, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited for a conversation. I would love to start with how you see your agency's constituents benefiting from the adoption of a multi-cloud IT strategy.
Yeah, frankly, cloud has become the Swiss Army knife of powering diplomacy at the edge. It's really just been crucial in using the right tool for the right job. As you can imagine, we have, hundreds, 275 posts overseas, over 110,000 users, plus the interagency. So it's a very complex dynamic environment with multiple functions, levels of security risk and whatnot that need to be addressed. And the only way to do that effectively at the enterprise level is really to provide the right tools for the job. So we've really latched onto the multi-cloud environments to do that. We have a series of different ones in the IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS flavors. We basically provide them through a shared responsibility model, which has been really successful for us. What we do is integrate that with our we call it SC ICAM, but our cloud-based identity solution, which makes it a seamless experience for the user in terms of accessing their environments. We provide the O&M on each of the platforms, all the changes, we provide the basic control sets. It also allows our customers to really reduce what they need to do for their ATOs. They inherit all of our controls as common controls. In some cases, they can get to work under our existing control set without having to have a separate ATO, which is pretty cool. And in addition, we give them access to all of our enterprise license agreements. So really what we're doing is abstracting away a lot of the back-end infrastructure side of it and allow the business units we partner with to just get to work.
That's great. And you mentioned a lot about security there. And I'd love to ask, how do you see public sector agencies taking more innovative approaches to cyber and data protection in 2022?
Yeah, I think we're definitely moving away from the traditional sort of RMF compliance checklist-based view. It's really become so dynamic because when you think about it, as we move into the cloud, especially under the TIC 3.0 concept, we're really talking about defense in depth, and we're also, if you will, replacing the traditional networks as we would think of it with a series of connections of data. And it really has become about protecting the assets and the data wherever they are. So we're going to have to get a lot more creative. We've already started thinking through a lot of this in our zero trust strategy, our new cloud strategy. But it's a long road, and there's a lot of improvements that need to happen across industry partners to help us. Also, a lot of policy changes that will need to happen. But I think overall what we'll see is a more dynamic alignment between the IT side and the business side so that we can understand the true value of the data that we're protecting, what it has to connect to, how timely that connection needs to be, what level of security we need to put on that data so that we can help our partners really meet their mission goals securely.
And Brian, on the talent side, how do you see digital workforce enablement helping agencies improve how they attract and retain skilled employees?
Yeah, talent capture and sustainment is probably one of the number one challenges, I'd say, in the tech community in general, and certainly in government, and of course in our agency. It's an ongoing challenge. So I think it's going to be a multi-factored approach. I mean, certainly we need to look at tech labor as a labor market. And really change the traditional government views towards attracting talent. We need to think about where we're recruiting talent. We need to think about the financial and the work-life incentives that we have to help retain that. So in our case, we have special incentive pay for our folks. We also offer remote work and very flexible work schedules, which is critical, especially post-COVID. But I think one of the number one things, especially the younger workforce is looking for, is a compelling mission. You've got to be able to provide a compelling mission for folks that they can really feel passionate about, and that's going to attract your top talent. And then in fulfilling that mission, you've got to give them an agile environment and an agile methodology space to work in so that they can actually bring their skills to bear on a problem quickly and directly. And I think when you combine all those different factors, and that's what we've been working through, and it's been very helpful for us, but it's a constant challenge I think the government will continue to face for a while.
You mentioned post-COVID, and I'd love to end our conversation there. Agencies had to move rapidly to acquire novel IT solutions during the pandemic. How do you see those efforts impacting longer-term acquisition reforms?
Yeah, I mean, I think that acquisition processes really need to adjust. I know it's a challenge for us, and I'm sure everyone. Part of the difficult piece we're running into is that overall people have changed their expectations because of COVID. The blend between work and life is almost seamless now. So the idea that we would go through a traditional acquisition process and timelines and still try to deliver things in a sort of legacy way, it's not tenable. We need more flexibilities in terms of how we acquire technology, the time frames of how we do that, the way we fund it, the way we pay for it, the licensing models around it. We certainly on the industry side need help there too in terms of creating more stability in the license models and the costing so that we can predict better within our budget cycles and budget accordingly for those needs. And I think over time, if we can actually improve some of those underlying concepts and processes and also really educate the acquisition workforce to be in better alignment with the way the technology is delivered, it's going to be really helpful and a game changer, but we desperately need that.
Brian, it's always a pleasure, and thanks again so much for joining us at the VMware Public Sector Innovation Summit.
Thank you very much.